Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today is really different. I'm not doing any funny moments or live commentary with friends. Today I'm doing a story time, which I've always enjoyed these types of videos, specifically from OG Birdman and up until recently Neatmike, which this is kind of a tribute if you haven't already seen from the title. And I basically want to start from the beginning, since like adolescence all the way up to my graduation of high school, with funny stories from school or from outside of school. So if you guys like these videos, let me know in the comments, give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. I have way more ideas in videos that I want to do. So yeah, without further ado, let me tell you about the time that I myself in elementary. So when I was in second grade, I started off the day like any other day. I went to school. I met up with my friends at recess before school started. For some reason, my stomach was giving me really bad problems. Like, they just started brewing up a disaster in the future, which I'll get to later. And you guys might be like asking like, oh, then why didn't you use the restroom, or why didn't you go to the nurse's office so that way they can give you something? But to be honest, I didn't really think it that much. Also, even when I was a kid, and even now, I don't like using public restrooms. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because of the stalls, or I don't know if it's because the restrooms are dirty. But in my mind, honestly, I think it's more of the vulnerability that you're in, especially when you're in a stall. Like, I don't know, the idea of it is you're literally in this cubicle with one lock. Anyone can basically kick down the door. I don't know, maybe it's because I think the worst at situations, and it's I don't know. But basically, back to the story. Class starts and our teacher's teaching our subject and all that, and as time goes on, my stomach is very like basically urging me to use the restroom, but obviously I'm ignoring it and I'm farting silently, obviously, to relieve the pressure. And a lot of the kids, like, they start smelling it and they start like whispering to each other who they think did it, or they're asking like other people whether or not they farted or not. Whenever I was asked, obviously I denied it because I didn't want to be embarrassed. So near the end of class, which is like 5 minutes before the school bell rings to let us all out, our teacher tells us to pack up our bags and line up by the door, so that way once the bell rings we can all walk out into the front of the campus, or our parents can pick us up. So the bell finally rings and all the kids run out, except for me, because I had an after school program because my parents didn't come out of work till way later. So I walked to the cafeteria, I signed my name in the sign-in sheet, and I meet up with my class so that way I can just hang out with my friends, I guess, basically. At this point, I'm really having to go to the restroom. Like, my stomach is basically telling me like, yo, we have to do this now or you're gonna blow up. But me still being very stubborn and not listening to my body, I'm refraining. And even if I did listen to my stomach, our instructor in my after school program class was very strict, and she never let us use the restroom for some reason. I just waited, and at the end of the program we would have like physical activities. Basically, like, we would have to do something outside. I don't know if it was because it was regulated by the school or the district, but that's what we had to do. So this day in particular, our teacher told us that we had to run 2 laps on the field. Basically, I guess because it was kind of like a mile, because the field was really big, so one lap would be 2 laps. And at this point my stomach is just about to explode, and he's like, bro, like, we need to go now. And at this point I'm basically complying, but I have to run my 2 laps. So I start hauling, man. I'm passing up all the kids. Like, if this was a track and field day, I'd be first place on the 200 meter, the 150 meter, 250 meter. Like, I'd be winning all the ribbons and stuff. But basically, I finally finished my laps, and then I go up to the instructor and I ask him if I can use the restroom, which he lets me, and I start running to the restroom. And we had 2 restrooms. One was at the 1st grade building and the other one was at the 5th grade building, which the one that was nearest to us was the 5th grade building. And that restroom was somewhat like a maze, because you would have to run in and then you'd have to make a left and then another left, which was basically like a U-turn, and then you would have to make a right and then another right, and then which was a second U-turn, and then finally once you get past that, the stall's on the right side. So I walk up into, I think, the middle stall, and I walk in there, I lock it, and I pull down my pants and my underwear at the same time to save some seconds, and I plant myself on the toilet seat. At this point, I'm kind of confused because I'm not really releasing anything. So I'm just sitting there and I'm really confused. So I decided to look down. Between both of my legs, I see what resembles a pile of mud. And dude, it was so disgusting, honestly. I didn't know what I was looking at, and then finally when I realized what it was, I just decided to basically just leave the crime scene. I decided to leave the crime scene and then wash my hands to leave the restroom. As I'm walking out of the door, I realized that my class, or the rest of the after school program, is walking towards the restrooms. I had forgotten that after every single PE activity we would have a restroom break. So I'm just in my head contemplating ways to get out of it, or I'm hoping that these kids wouldn't notice this big piece of dookie on the floor. Obviously that didn't happen because it was in front of the stall, or near the front of the stall, and I just hear the kids scream and run out of the restroom and tell the instructor that there's just this piece of shit on the floor. The instructor calls the janitor through his walkie-talkie, and one of the kids comes up to me and asks me if I've seen the poop on the floor, and I reply with like saying, "Oh no, I must have missed it or something," which obviously was a lie. But the janitor finally came, and I guess he cleaned it up, but honestly I was apologizing a million times in my head. After that happens, we finally walk down the hallway towards the cafeteria so that way we can get picked up by our parents. We get there, my parent finally walks in, signs me out on the sign out sheet, and we go home. And basically on the car ride home, man, I was just disgusted and trying to forget everything that happened that day, but obviously I still remember, as you can tell, because I'm telling the story. But yeah, that was basically it. I don't know if there's a moral to the story. I would just say use the restroom if you can. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a thumbs up, or let me know in the comments. Again, if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. I'm gonna try to make way more videos. I'm planning to make more of these story times because I have a lot of like fun just telling these stories, even though it's just the first episode basically. But I have really high hopes for this series. If you guys have any other ideas that you might want to see me do, make sure to leave it in the comments. I'm open to suggestions. But other than that, I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Keep pushing through, stay safe out there, because obviously we're in the pandemic. And yeah, peace.